Hello people and welcome to Shifting Gears, and right now I am driving the 2021 Mercedes-Benz A-Class Limousine here for the Indian market. You can call this the A-Limo. ये Mercedes-Benz की सबसे सस्ती sedan होने वाली है here in the Indian market. The CLA is no longer available. This A-Class based A sedan is now the entry point into the Mercedes-Benz limousine lineup. अब ये गाड़ी जो है it is going to be launched very soon in the month of March, and this is going to be a CKD product here in the Indian market. ये locally assemble होने वाली है. You are only going to get two variants. You can either opt for the A200 petrol or the A200d diesel. There is going to be no variant lineup in terms of the equipment that you get. ये एक top of the line variant ही होने वाला है. You can only choose between the petrol or the diesel engine options here on offer. The coolest thing that Mercedes-Benz is doing for your peace of mind, अगर आप कोई भी variant खरीद लो इस A limousine का, you can buy the petrol or you can buy the diesel. The brand is going to offer you 8 years of warranty as standard on the engine and gearbox, and this is going to be transferable. So अगर आप ये गाड़ी खरीद लेते हो और उसके बाद आप इसे बेच देते हो, the residual value is going to improve because the next buyer is going to have that peace of mind with the warranty that is on offer. And also, if you plan to buy this in the pre-owned market, you will still be a happy buyer, you will still be a happy customer. Right now आप इस गाड़ी का A200 पेट्रोल या A200d डीजल वेरिएंट खरीद पा रहे हो. You can go and book it at your Mercedes-Benz dealerships, but the brand will also offer an AMG trim based on this limousine, so that is going to be a more high performance spec trim that you can bring home. Of course, it is going to cost a lot more money, but then it is going to offer you a lot more performance. आज हम इस Mercedes-Benz A-Class Limousine का डीजल वेरिएंट चला रहे हैं, and right off the bat, what I really like is the refinement. Of course, it is a luxury car, and you, of course, expect that the refinement should be top notch. And Mercedes-Benz, of course, they have done a fantastic job. जब आप ये गाड़ी चला लोगे, you will barely hear the diesel clatter inside the cabin, and even inside city limits, जब आप गाड़ी slow paced speeds पे चला रहे हो, तभी भी आपको डीजल इंजन का आवाज जो है कैबिन में सुनाई नहीं देता है. At slow crawls as well, you will barely feel that there is an oil burner under the hood. You will just feel that the refinement levels are as good as petrol. But of course, the perception will change once you step in the petrol variant, because that will feel even more refined. But that is the difference that you feel between petrol and diesel engines. But overall, the NVH package, fantastic. और Mercedes-Benz ने इस गाड़ी पे इतना काम किया है that this car holds the world record for the lowest coefficient of drag, which is 0.22 CD. That is going to help the overall aero efficiency of this car so much कि आपको wind noise जो है वो भी cabin में काफी कम सुनाई देगा. Mercedes-Benz has even worked on the alloy wheels that are on offer on this car, and those alloy wheels also help in the overall aero efficiency. And thanks to all of that, the fuel efficiency is also going to be on the higher side. Not that you really care about fuel efficiency when you buy a Mercedes-Benz, but still it is going to, be easy on your wallet. अभी चलिए बात कर लेते हैं engine specifications की. You can buy this A limousine A200 variant, which is the petrol trim with a 1332cc 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine. That one produces 120 kilowatts of power and 250 Newton meters of torque. वो पेट्रोल वेरिएंट जो है 8.3 सेकंड्स में 0 to 100 की स्प्रिंट अचीव कर देगा. इफ यू बाय द डीजल ट्रिम, दैट कम्स विद अ 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged motor, and that will produce 110 kilowatts of power and 320 Newton meters of torque. The diesel variant is going to be quicker to 100 km per hour dash by 0.1 seconds, so it will do that in 8.2 seconds. पेट्रोल वेरिएंट के साथ आपको एक 7G DCT गियरबॉक्स मिल जाता है. डीजल वेरिएंट के साथ आपको एक 8G DCT गियरबॉक्स मिल जाता है. द पेट्रोल वेरिएंट will deliver 17.5 kmpl of mileage, while the diesel variant is going to be much more efficient, and it is going to deliver 21.35 kilometers per liter. Now this is a BS6 compliant diesel vehicle, so of course there is going to be AdBlue that you will have to top up. So if you buy the diesel variant, आपको थोड़ी boot space जो है वो कम मिलने वाली है, because the boot capacity is eaten up by the reservoir to accommodate that AdBlue liquid, that AdBlue fluid. Now talking about ground clearance, compared to the CLA, this car has 27 millimeters more. So this car has 127 millimeters of ground clearance. Mercedes-Benz ने इस गाड़ी के suspension setup को भी tweak किया है to meet the Indian road conditions, and also the tires on offer on this particular car here in India, they have a higher sidewall, so it is going to result in a much more comfortable ride. The car by default rides on 17-inch lightweight alloy wheels. आज मैं इस Mercedes-Benz A limousine को चला रहा हूँ in and around sunny Goa, and my experience is that this car is going to be very ideal for those who want to buy a luxury car but want to drive the car by themselves. Mercedes-Benz has mentioned that if you want to buy the C-Class and if you are cross-shopping between this A-Class limousine, the only difference is going to be the size of the car. इसके अलावा आपको सभी इक्विपमेंट जो है सेम मिलने वाली है इन बोथ द कार्स. सो द थिंग इज, जब आप कोई भी लग्जरी कार इंडियन मार्केट में खरीद रहे हो, द रोड कंडीशंस आर नॉट दैट ग्रेट, द ट्रैफिक सिचुएशन इज not all that great. So having a car which is tighter in dimensions, makes you feel a little bit more happy and a little bit more peaceful from behind the wheel, because you don't really have to worry about the size. And if it is just going to be you in the car, or maybe just you plus one, this feels good enough. The space on offer feels good enough. I am 5 feet 8 inches in height and there is just ample amount of room for me. इस गाड़ी में दोनों ही फ्रंट सीट्स पे आपको इलेक्ट्रिकल एडजस्टमेंट मिलने वाली है, and you are going to find your driving position very easily, and the steering wheel also has tilt and telescopic adjustability. I can notice the bonnet shut line very nicely. I'm seated at the lowest seat height and there is fantastic visibility to drive in and around city limits. Now this A-Class limousine that I'm driving today, there are no ventilated seats in this particular variant, but the AC performance is quite good. You have a very large panoramic sunroof above your head, which will allow a lot of light on the inside, and on hot days it will allow that sun to be felt inside the cabin. But the AC performance is not bad at all. Now this Mercedes-Benz A limo also has a very nice safety feature. If the speed is within 55 kilometers per hour, and if the car in front of you is slowing down, and if you are not slowing down enough, the car will apply brakes by itself and it will bring you to a safe halt, or it will at least slow down the car so that it can avoid a collision. It will not work if you are above 55 kilometers per hour, but within city limits it stays active by default. जब भी आप गाड़ी start कर दोगे, it will stay turned on. So that is a good safety feature to have here in the Indian market, where people just drive like you know what, right? Now so far I have mentioned that the engine NVH is fantastic. Of course it is a Mercedes-Benz, they have done their job absolutely right. Then I mentioned that it is a good driver's car because it is very easy to manage. The size is just ideal. But the next point that I want to talk about is ride quality and comfort. अभी जब मैं इस गाड़ी को गोवा में चला रहा हूँ, the roads are not really the best of tarmac stretches. There are a fair bit of undulations and there is some amount of broken patch as well. When I'm driving it on a decently paved street, it offers you good ride quality. Mercedes-Benz has tweaked the suspension. They have ensured that the tire sidewall is on the higher side to offer you comfort, and it will result in a reasonably comfortable ride quality. It is not as jerky and it is not as harsh as German car standards. लेकिन जब आप एकदम ही खराब पैचेस पे से इस गाड़ी को चला लोगे like these, you will be able to feel some amount of thuds inside the cabin, and you will also hear them as well. But then that is typical of German cars sold here in the Indian market, because the suspension is still a little on the stiffer side. Because when you will drive these cars fast, the suspension setup has to complement the engine and the performance. अभी समझिए कि अगर आप ये गाड़ी खरीदने वाले हो, and if you are planning to go for a Mumbai to Goa road trip, for example, this car is going to be a good place to be in. The cabin is going to keep you comfortable. It does soak up the undulations quite well, and so far I have not encountered a speed breaker where the engine underbelly or the wheelbase section has scraped. So I think the ground clearance is reasonable. But अगर आप इस गाड़ी को full load के साथ चला रहे हो, if you are 4 people on board and if you have luggage for all 4 in the boot, then you will have to be careful. You will have to slow down and then crawl over that speed breaker so that the wheelbase section doesn't hit on the speed breaker and it doesn't hurt you in the heart. Now Mercedes-Benz claims that this car will deliver over 21 kmpl of mileage जब आप ये diesel variant खरीद लेते हो. Today when I am driving it, the mileage figure that I can see on the onboard computer is close to 16 kmpl. It is 15.9 right now, and if I keep driving it out on the highway, the mileage number is definitely going to improve. So I think अगर आपको एक fuel efficient sedan खरीदनी है, and if you want to buy a luxury car, this makes perfect sense, because since I mentioned that this car can be a very good daily driver thanks to its size, if you will drive it daily, you will care about fuel efficiency as well, not considering the fact that you have big bucks to bring this home, but still it is not going to require frequent fuel stops. Typical of Mercedes-Benz cars, you have this dynamic select toggle control over here on the tunnel console. आप ड्राइविंग मोड जो है काफ़ी आसानी से सिलेक्ट कर पाओगे. You have eco, comfort, sport and individual. You obviously know what they do. They, adjust the throttle maps. They change the way the car accelerates, and you also feel some amount of heft on the steering wheel depending on the mode that you have selected. You can of course select individual and then tweak each of these aspects for your personal driving taste. Now you might have noticed that there is no gear lever over here on the tunnel console because Mercedes-Benz uses a control stalk as their gear stick here on the steering column. Very easy to use and very easy to operate. The plastics and everything is just top notch. Ergonomics में भी आपको कोई भी problem नहीं होने वाले हैं inside this car, and it does feel like a proper modern sedan. You have all the features that you will need except for wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This feature just needs to be on offer now in the Indian market. अभी जब मैं ये कह रहा हूँ that this car is going to be a very good driver's car because of its dimensions, because it is so nice and tight and it is compact, Mercedes-Benz is also offering you paddle shifts. आपको steering wheel पे जो paddle controls दिए गए हैं, very easy to reach and they move along with the steering wheel. They are not in a fixed position like we showed you in the Citroen video. The steering wheel gives you a good sense of where your front wheels are pointed, and because the car is so nice and tight, because it is so compact, you feel that the dynamics are much more sorted than the bigger Mercedes-Benz cars which you might consider upgrading to in the future if you are currently planning to buy this A limo. Now this is a modern car, so of course it gets idle start stop system, it gets auto start stop functionality for the engine. तो जब भी आप एक सिग्नल पे आके खड़े हो जाओगे, the engine will shut down if you have kept the brake pedal depressed, and as soon as you release the brake pedal, the car will fire up and it will start crawling. So that is going to be convenient अगर आप ये गाड़ी daily आपके ownership cycle में इस्तेमाल करने वाले हो, especially in bumper to bumper traffic. And for a change, now I am on a very good stretch of road, so I'm going to switch to sport mode, and now I'm going to take manual controls. So I'm in manual mode now, and now keep listening to the engine. Very fast shifting gearbox, and the road is not really completely flat, but this A-Class limousine very effortlessly picks up pace and stays glued to the ground. Of course, if you will drive it too fast and too hard over undulations, some bad patches can unsettle the car's ride and you will feel those thuds. But apart from that, in terms of dynamics, I don't think you're going to have too many problems. Now for all you racers out there who would like to drive this car hard and fast and in sport mode all the time, I have slotted it in sport mode and I have taken manual controls over this engine and gearbox. Now just listen to the engine. Very fast, and it makes upshifts so quickly every time you give an input, making use of those pedals. अगर आप कभी पैडल शिफ्ट्स पे से इनपुट देना भूल जाते हो, or if you miss the timing, the ideal shift time, the gearbox will take control by itself and it will upshift depending on your throttle input. So that is also a nice touch that is typical of all modern gearboxes. This diesel engine, by the way, has ample of torque. Only at times when your speed drops under 10 kilometers per hour, very noticeably, that it will, shift to first. Otherwise, it will just keep driving in second gear. Again, just listen to the engine. Right now, I have kept it in sport mode, but in standard D mode. So as per diesel car standards, you do get to hear some amount of engine noise inside the cabin. But it is not typical of diesel cars. It is not that, harsh clatter. It actually sounds quite sporty for a diesel sedan. Check this out right now. If you want to make really fast-paced lane changes, because this car is so compact and so tight, it is very easy to get to your desired line. And then even at times of an emergency, this car is going to be very easy to bring back in your control. Again, taking manual controls, and as soon as I give the throttle pedal a nice kick down, it picks up pace quite nicely. And at times when you want to slow it down and when you stomp on the brakes, it does that in a very mature fashion, and it does that in a very secure manner. So it is not going to move around too much, and you will be able to bring this car to a halt nicely, safely, and be confident while doing so. And since I am mentioning that this car is going to be an easy car inside the city, check this out. Even making U-turns is going to be effortless because the turning radius is also tight because the car is not too long. So your ownership cycle with this car is going to be really, really good if you keep aside the fact that the back seat space is going to be a little limited compared to, say for example, the other option that you have in this price range, which is the BMW X1. So goodbye guys, subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel if you haven't till now. Let us know what is your opinion about this Mercedes-Benz A-Class Limousine. Do check out the exterior and interior video जो हमने अलग से upload किया है. You will get to know all other details about this car. In terms of the driving dynamics, the feel, I really like it, and I would really like to do road trips in such a car because it is just so easy to manage. See you soon. Goodbye. Always drive safe. Always wear your seat belts and have fun whenever you get a chance. Have both your hands on the steering wheel, because every time the streets throw you a corner, having both your hands on the steering wheel is going to inspire a lot more confidence.